It blows my mind that new facts and information are still being found out about games that are over 20 years old. You'd think the mind would be empty at this point. It's been 20 years. It's one of the biggest franchises in the world. But no, things are still being found, and it's honestly very, very impressive. I love Did You Know Gaming. This is the best source for like new, interesting things about games. They upload pretty consistently, and it's almost always just new stuff that you wouldn't have heard in other places, like on forums or in other videos. They do their own research and they figure things out themselves, which is really sick. But today we have 17 minutes of brand new FireRed LeafGreen facts.
Did you know FireRed and LeafGreen were specifically designed for girls? Or that the very first room made for the game was your own room? Or that Game Freak got stuck on it for a long time before they could move on to the rest of Kanto?
I guess that makes sense because, like, this is where you start, right? This is where you need everything to be, not like tutorialized, but it needs to be perfect. But also, this is a weird room. I'm just gonna say it. This is a weird room. Like, who has stairs inside of their room? I don't know, maybe you have stairs inside of your room. Maybe that's a normal thing. But also, like, the bed's just there. It's not like in the corner. The feng shui is all messed up. It's just in the middle. It's not against a wall. The TV is just in the middle of the room. It's not against a wall either. Where is this even plugged into? I don't even know. Do they have plugs in the floors? Very weird. There's a massive mat here that is just for the TV that is not plugged into anything. There's a PC over there against the wall. That's cool. It's in the corner. The feng shui that makes sense there. And then the rest is just like empty space. Like, where's mom's bed? I assume that mom has a room separate to this, but it's just a stair. It's a stairway downstairs. It's not like it's not like you go out into a hallway and then you go downstairs. Mom just doesn't have a room.
Or that Satoru Iwata helped boost the game to feel like more of a remake instead of just a port. 5 years ago.
I mean, it is a remake. FireRed LeafGreen, yeah, it's straight up a remake. They remade the game.
We made a FireRed and LeafGreen video because there wasn't a dedicated trivia video on all of YouTube. Compared to other Pokemon games, there are very few interviews for the series' first remakes. So when we recently found an 8-page interview in an old Japanese magazine that
Oh, that's the good stuff. You find an old Japanese magazine like no one's ever heard this stuff before. So this is Junichi Masuda. His favorite Pokemon is Kodoku. His favorite Pokemon is Psyduck, pretty fire. I'm not sure who this person is, but their favorite Pokemon is Vileplume, which is kind of hilarious. They also have really cool yellow glasses, which is nice.
Quote, the untold story behind the latest Pokemon game's development.
Yo, this is gonna base favorite Pokemon, actually. Venusaur, sick, love that. Snorlax? Is this the guy that made Snorlax? Because you know what, if I made a Pokemon, it would probably be my favorite too.
Okay.
I haven't made a Pokemon. I've made Subnoodle. He's my favorite guy, obviously, but he's not in the video games or anything, apart from Subnoodle version.
Curiosity was piqued, especially since it was just a few days before these games came to Switch. So we translated it and curated the highlights. Let's get right to it. The interview was published in Nintendo Dream's March 2004 issue and took...
Damn, 2004. Oh my god, old video game magazines are the best. I bought a video game magazine that I remember reading when I was a child, and I found the same issue and I bought it again. You guys probably haven't heard of this. It's called Game Master. It was a big game magazine back in the day in the UK. They don't really exist anymore, unfortunately. But I remember reading that. I saw like a Halo 3 article and a review for BioShock. BioShock is my favorite game of all time. I absolutely love that game. And Halo 3 is up there as well. So I remember reading this over and over and over again because I wasn't allowed to buy the game when I was younger. So I just remember reading this video game article again and again and again and reading the review again and again and again. And when I bought it and I held it in my hands when I was like, 20 years later. Okay, I'm not that many years, like 15 years, 16 years, 17 years later, and holding it and opening it up again, it was like I'd been smacked in the face with nostalgia. I don't know how to explain it other than it was like hitting a brick wall of nostalgia that knocked me out. If you have any video game magazines you remember reading as a child, buy it, find it on eBay if you can. I found one copy on eBay. It doesn't exist anywhere else. There's one copy someone was selling it on eBay one time. I found it. Just do it. I swear it'll be worth it.
Place in Game.
Sorry, I'm not showing the actual video anymore. I won't forget.
Headquarters. It's a big building, so they only occupied the 3rd and 5th floors. They
don't have their own building back in the day. I guess that makes sense. Even though Pokemon was massive then, surely now they have
been here since Generation 1's development. Though back then they only had the 3rd floor, which is why in Kanto, Game Freak's office is on the 3rd floor of the Celadon condominiums.
Oh, that's so cool. They just recreated their actual development building down to the T, down to the right floor. That's really cool. I like how Game Freak will put themselves in Pokemon games. They'll just be like, hey, we're here making games. We love games. So, you know, if you do your Pokedex, come check us out.
In real life, they shared their building with a cram school, and you can see a sign in the window that says, hang in there, test takers. Nowadays, they've upgraded to a much fancier.
Wow. Okay, this is so nice. This is so sick. Oh my God, I love this.
Office with a lobby based on Viridian Forest and meeting rooms themed around Kanto's towns.
That's so cool. Oh my God, that's so cool. Is it Saffron? Because Saffron's a big square. Saladon is... Well, Saladon's like the purchase. Oh, Saladon's like the place where you go to buy things. So like you have the food there. You have like the kitchen there. You can go get the coffees, teas, and things. You get coffee and tea because you get coffee and tea in Saladon. Cerulean, obviously blue, water, very cute. Vermilion has like 2 different squares. I'm not really sure if it's like designed after it. That's really sick.
Instead of sharing with a cram school, now they're in a building with Nintendo.
I know, maybe I'm looking too much into this. The fact they have a whiteboard there makes me think, okay, like Vermilion is the city that's in the process of being built. Like they have the buildings being built in Vermilion. So maybe the process of building the game is in the Vermilion room because it relates to what is happening in Vermilion in the games.
The magazine met with 4 prominent Game Freakers. Director Junichi Masuda, his right-hand man and lead planner Koji Nishino, the lead programmer Tetsuya Watanabe, and graphics lead Takao Uno. They all worked on the original games too, except Uno, who was just one of 50 million fans back in the day.
Wow. Imagine like playing the original games and then being able to work on it in the future. I mean, I know that happens for like a ton of different game companies like Bethesda, the other ones too, but like I can't imagine how much pressure would be on you to deliver something really sick and really good. But also how cool it would be to be able to be like, I grew up playing this game and now I'm shaping the world of the new one.
We'll talk more about his transition from fan to team member later on. Game Freak says before starting development, they all went back and played Red and Green on the Game Boy. It was harder to go back to than they remembered, with cries of, there's no color, the screen is too small, and the programming sucks. Fortunately,
Yeah, and I mean, they were the ones that did it. It is so sick that Game Freak still has a lot of people working there that originally worked on it. Like, Masuda's been there since day one, which is crazy to me. Like, it's, I mean, I guess in Japan, you're more likely to stay in one company for your whole, like, professional life. You're less likely to jump around jobs. But when you hear about the video game industry, and as soon as a game gets completed, like, everybody gets laid off. Like, everybody gets laid off, even if the game is really successful. Like, Battlefield did really well, and then EA fired, like, thousands of people. Fortnite just, fires thousands, even though that game's really successful too. It's cool to have at least some areas where people are just like, I've been here since day one. I'll be here till the day I don't know. I'll be here for a long time still.
Fixed all that in the remakes. While children, and especially young boys, were the target audience for Red and Green, these games would be designed for a different demographic. Girls. And mums, too. Grandmas, even. Masuda stresses that
Grandmas? Okay, I get it though, because I feel like the Pokemon fan base would have been primarily male before that. Now, I don't know. I have no idea. Based on my YouTube analytics, 90% of the people that watch my video are male. So if you are female or non-binary, then you are in you're one of the 10%. So congratulations to you. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. But in terms of like the actual player base of Pokemon, I feel like it's more like almost a 50-50 split at this point.
Repeatedly in the interview. They really wanted to broaden the player base, and part of that was making FireRed and LeafGreen the easiest games in the series.
What? Okay, I mean, they're not, though, are they? Are they the easiest games? I'm trying to think, okay, at that point, all that's been written in the release is up to Emerald, right? I mean, I feel like, I don't know, I don't think that FireRed LeafGreen is easier than Emerald. I'd say they're about the same. But there isn't many games in the franchise up to this point, so it's kind of hard to judge. I feel like they're all the same difficulty. If anything, Red and Blue was probably easier than FireRed LeafGreen. They probably made it harder when they remade it.
Lots of small details were tailored for a female audience as well. For example, boys will play for hours on end, but girls are more likely to have gaps in their playtime. So they added
I wonder why that is. Is it just because, like, back then, I suppose, parents were encouraging girls to do things other than playing games, maybe?
Feature that when you load your save file, it will remind you of what you did in your last play session.
Yeah, but it tells you, like, stupid things that you don't care about. It's like, you battled Bombi on the Bribblesnop route, and they had a level 12 Rattata. I'm like, wow, great. I'm glad. Thanks for telling me.
And they redesigned the Pokédex to look less electronic and more like a paper encyclopedia.
Okay, I don't really know why that would have more appeal to women, but all right, cool. I guess the grandmas would like that, maybe.
Series creator Satoshi Tajiri wasn't intimately involved with development, but the team says he supervised all the remake's changes. In the original Red and Green, he wrote all the dialogue himself.
What? I guess, like, it's not a ridiculous amount of dialogue, but still, that is surprising. Just one person. I guess the Red and Blue team was really small, though, wasn't it? How big was the Pokemon Red and Blue team? I swear it was really small. Let me have a look. It says here that, oh, guys, I'm so sorry. That's not the answer. That's GamerSubs.gg, where you can use code Patterrz to save money on all of your delicious, amazing GamerSubs. I'm so sorry. Look, there's even a cup that you can get that it is Mickey and Winnie the Pooh fighting. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, the actual answer to the question is roughly 9 to 10. Oh, that's the AI overview. The actual credit list has about 31 people, I think. And that includes, like, everybody for all the different versions of the game, too. Like, yeah, you got, like, the European version, you have the US version. So if we're just taking, like, straight up the people who worked on the Japanese original version of the game, it's like, maybe, like, 20, 15 people. Not many. Really not many people. That's super impressive.
The staff committed to not changing a single word. Masuda told the team they could add more text, but couldn't remove anything written by Tajiri. The
that's fair.
English versions were heavily revised, though, from the very first line out of Professor Oak's mouth. Nintendo of America's Nob Ogasawara
Let's go, Nob! Legend.
Localized the originals and the remakes. The localization process was a mess back in the 90s and had gotten better in the years since. So the remakes are...
See, localization is hard. When you think of localization, it's not just translating a game into, you know, the other languages. It has to also make sense. Like, obviously, the way they do it with the Pokemon anime, the Jelly Donuts line from Brock is like, oh, we had this Jelly Donut. It's not a Jelly Donut. It's onigiri. It's rice balls, but that's not very common in America, so they changed it. It's a bit silly because it doesn't look like a donut at all. I even looked at it. I was looking at that. I was like, oh, that's not a donut. That's a weird looking donut. But you have to be able to swap around the meanings of things so that it makes sense. If you make a joke in Japanese and the joke doesn't really land in English, like, you have to change it around so that the joke actually makes sense in all the different areas around the world, which is super hard to do.
Actually, more faithful to Tajiri's original words. Here's a bit of trivia from outside the interview, by the way. Nob's birthday is February 27th, the same day Red and Green came out. That's the only reason he happened to buy them back in 1996, which ultimately led to him becoming the official localizer.
Wait, that's the only he was like, I'll get myself a little birthday gift, Chella.
If not for that coincidence, the English versions could have turned out pretty different. Translation is an art, after all.
Modern day Nob. There we go. That is the very picture of a modern day Nob there.
Not a science. And no two localizers would translate in the same exact way. But let's get back to that magazine. Game Freak says aside from girls, they also want to capture the elderly. In fact, development began...
Do a lot of old people play Pokemon games? It's going to be so crazy. Like, when in like 30 years in the future, Pokemon's still around, which, I mean, I imagine it will be. I saw an article recently that was like, yeah, we're planning to have maybe like, there could be a time where there's like 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 Pokemon. I'm like, wow, yeah, they don't plan on ending this anytime soon. I mean, it's a money printer, so why would you? In 50 years in the future, when I'm, oh my God, I'm almost 30 now, Jesus Christ. When I'm like 80, playing Pokemon in my retirement home, I'm like, oh, I remember back in the day I used to make videos about this series. And the care worker's like, yeah, you keep saying, that's all you say, actually. That's the only story that you have, Daniel. It's getting a bit old. I'm like, back I made, then we fight. We would randomly pick up... Yep, you randomly pick your Pokemon, but you can't see them. Instead, you only get a little bit of information, and then you're going to battle. We know. It's okay. We know.
The slogan, Pokemon that even 60-year-olds can play. So they assigned the new guy, Takao Uno, to make the starting house Giza-proof.
Giza-proof? Okay. Well, I mean, it's basically the same as this, though, right? It's the same as the original house.
As we mentioned in a previous video, art director Ken Sugimori's dad tried playing Pokemon, but couldn't figure out how to go outside.
Oh, he didn't know where the door is.
For someone who's never played a video game, I guess it's understandable they wouldn't think to stand on a carpet and push down.
Yeah, I mean, it is like where you put your feet, though. Yeah, that makes sense.
Early on,
The thing is, though, when you give someone a controller that's never played a game before, it's like handing them Egyptian hieroglyphs. The people just look at it and they're like, I have no idea what to do with this. They can't. So many people, when they first play a game, like say you give a controller to like your granddad or your grandma and they've never played a game before, they'll hold it and they can't do the 2 joysticks at once. They do one at a time because they can't, like, their brain doesn't register using 2 joysticks at once. It's something you have to learn over a long period of time. And we take it for granted because, you know, I would assume most of us here have been playing games since we were a child. But they just don't, it just doesn't make sense to people that haven't been.
I made tons of designs for doors and stairs, only for Masuda to say they weren't simple enough, remembers Uno.
God, I'd be so annoyed. It's not simple enough. What do you mean it's not? It's stairs. What do you mean?
I had to redo the interiors extensively, and he wouldn't let me move on to the rest of Kanto until I got it right. Eventually, he...
Okay, this is pretty simple. That's a very, very... Yeah, oh my God, they really telegraphed this. They have the... Wow, they really telegraphed this. They have the protection from falling, so you can see that it's going down. Actually, the actual stairs, the color changing as you go down to signify the shadow overcast from here, and a carpet. Damn.
Did get it right. And here you can see the senior-friendly house.
I see what they did here. They put the carpet halfway like off screen, I think, to signify that it goes farther so that you can walk through it.
Compared to the original. The stairs look like actual stairs, and the doorway juts a little outside. People unfamiliar with controllers tend to push the L and R buttons on accident. So Game Freak made those buttons open the new Help menu.
It's so annoying. I hate this menu so much. What should I do in this situation?
We could go on with all the ways they catered to old-timers, but you get the idea. After they were done, Masuda gave his own parents a copy in a Game Boy Advance SP. Their son was director of the world's most popular IP, but they had never played it.
What? Come on, guys. I mean, you gotta at least have some interest in what your kids are doing, surely. It's the biggest franchise in the world. It makes mega bucks. It's actually way better than being like a doctor. They're making more money than being a doctor.
Took the machine from Masuda's hands and played it like this. Masuda protested that they're not supposed to hold it like a calculator, but they managed to catch a few Pokemon anyway.
That's so funny. Like I said, they just don't know how to use controllers. They've never done it before.
He says they probably won't play all the way to the credits. Then he tells readers, if you buy it, please let your mum play. And grandma too.
I mean, I feel like mums and grandmas would at least love the designs of the creatures. Surely, right?
Did Game Freak's plan to broaden their audience succeed? No. Actually, not in
didn't work. Okay.
terms of sales, anyway. FireRed and LeafGreen were the worst-selling paired release so far.
Okay, to be fair, I mean, it's a remake. So that makes sense. It's usually remakes do pretty badly. You should say the sales for Crystal. I guess that is like a third version, but still, remakes. I don't know, actually. Maybe they don't. I mean, the Heart Gold Soul Silver did about the same. So if you take into account inflation, I mean, you probably made actual more money from FireRed LeafGreen. Black and White 2 did super bad, which is sad to me because it's the only proper sequel that we got. Like, we didn't get freaking sequels. Platinum's not a sequel. Crystal's not a sequel. Ultra Sun and Moon aren't sequels. Black and White 2, the only proper sequels that we got to a region, did super bad. I still think they're really good games too. They deserve better.
And didn't lose that distinction till nearly a decade later when Black and White 2 came out. FireRed and LeafGreen.
Ooh, that's a hard 10 out of 10, guys. Listen, guys, as a YouTuber, which is, as we know, the hardest job in the world, I totally understand how this feels. I can't imagine working for years on something and just releasing a stinker. If I just worked on years on a video and it came out and just no one watched it, I'd be pretty sad, you know. And I totally understand it because it's the same. Because, you know, working in a game and making a reaction YouTube video where I just watch someone else's video and re-upload it, that's it's the same difficulty level, obviously.
Were massively profitable anyway, though, selling 12 million copies. Not bad, considering Game Freak made them in a single year. For context, Heart Gold
Yeah, I mean, the game was already made. Why not?
and Soul Silver took 3 years to make. Speaking of sales, it's easy to find how much each paired release sold. But what's not well documented is which versions sold more. In fact,
yeah, that's really hard to find out. I would imagine it's got to be FireRed, but I want to know the split. Like, is it 60-40, 55-45, 75-25? The first one that I had was LeafGreen, but I ended up getting both. I got both.
the info we did find online turned out to be wrong. But in this interview, Masuda says FireRed outsold LeafGreen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's to be expected. Like, it's Venusaur versus Charizard. What are we going to do here?
Which he chalks up to Charizard's popularity. 8 years before, Pokemon Red was selling way more than Green. That led to Red selling out and people having to buy Green instead, since that's all that...
That's what happened to me. Like, I couldn't find FireRed anywhere in 2004 when it came out. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm this old. I was literally waiting for it for Christmas. And I remember for Christmas, I got the Pokemon Leaf Green version, but I was really going on about how I wanted FireRed version. I want FireRed version. I want FireRed version. And luck would have it, my gran drove me to her friend's house randomly, and she went in, she was like, I'm just gonna pop in and see my friend. I was like, whatever. I was just sitting there playing my game, whatever. She comes out with Pokemon Fire Red version. I guess my gran's friend must have got it, and decided to sell it to my gran so that I could have it. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. That's so sweet of you.
Was left. As a result, Masuda says Red and Green ended up selling almost exactly equal. By the way, in another magazine, he says silver sold more than gold.
Let's go! Yes! Oh, bang it. Usually I would assume it's gold that did, but you know what? Let's go! Huge. Listen, I'm a silver boy myself. I love Lugia so much.
But while most folks wanted red, there was one person who preferred green, Takao Uno. Back then, he heard the buzz. He saw the TV commercials, but Pokemon didn't interest him. It wasn't till he went in a game shop and saw Venusaur on the cover.
Really? Listen, that's pretty based. I agree. I completely agree.
This is so cool, he thought. Then he bought it, picked Bulbasaur, and now here he is, lead graphics designer on the remake. When he got appointed, he asked, are you sure I'm the right person for the job? Through the rest of development, he was nervous if he could really do it. We'll let you be the judge of how well he did.
I think they did a great job. I mean, FireRed LeafGreen, it's iconic. Like, it's one of the most played games, I would imagine, considering all like the ROM hacks and things like that.
By the way, he'd later create the Chimchar family, the Sword of Justice trio, Arceus, Zeraora, and quite a few more.
You know what? I'd say overall, that's a hit. That's more hits than misses. Infernape family, cool. Arceus, just great. I can't imagine like the pressure of trying to create the god Pokemon, the design of the god Pokemon. That must be so hard to be able to do that. Cobalion is all right. Terrakian's cool. Viricion's cool. Zeraora is not really my thing.
One of the remake's biggest updates is wireless trading and battling. Originally, Game Freak was just going to use the GBA link cable. But then Iwata and Ishihara came to Masuda, whipped out a wireless adapter,
and they said, look at this, damn, slammed it on the table, and they said, we don't need wires anymore, baby, we're going wireless.
And we're like, ta-da, check this thing out. What do you think? Masuda...
What do you think? It's like, I think it's like the American Psycho business card scene where he slides a business card, he's like, so what do you think? And the guy picks up the business card, and he's like, yeah, we got the beveled edges here, we got the nice colors, sharp edge, wow, yeah, pretty good. And then he slides his own business card, he's like, so what do you think of this one?
Thought the game would sell just fine without it, but Iwata insisted, saying it'd help FireRed and LeafGreen feel like more than simple ports, and could be a real selling point. So Masuda relented and talked him into bundling the adapter in for free.
Damn! Okay. Love that.
They'd cut costs on the cartridge by not having an internal clock for a day-night cycle, so they could afford a little generosity. It ended up being a great deal for fans, since otherwise a wireless adapter cost $20. But with Pokemon, it came free. Then you could use it with Emerald, Mario Golf, Mega Man Battle Network, and dozens of other games. Well, in Japan, it was free. In America, FireRed and LeafGreen cost $5 more than a standard Game Boy Advance game.
Oh, but I mean, that's fine though, isn't it?
Game Freak's programmers couldn't implement it on their own though, so Iwata sent over some Nintendo engineers to help him out for a few months. When FireRed and LeafGreen were finished, Nintendo helped them debug too. The original Red and Green were famous.
Oh my God! Held together with duct tape, hopes, and dreams, my lord. I always thought it was weird that, FireRed, LeafGreen, Blue and Red was such a buggy games. When I was growing up, I never experienced any bugs in any Pokemon games. I always thought that Pokemon games generally were very bug-free. And then Scarlet and Violet came out, and you know how that goes.
Filled with bugs, even more than overseas versions. Lead programmer Watanabe says they hadn't gotten any better at programming since then.
What? How is that possible? How have you been making games for another 10 years and you haven't even slightly improved?
Hence, they desperately needed the assistance. Like Ruby and Sapphire, FireRed and LeafGreen feature some puzzles based on Braille, the writing system for blind folks. Masuda repeatedly stresses that he wants everyone to learn Braille for blind people's sake. Inserting
Okay, wow, that's very sweet of him.
Braille puzzles into Pokemon games was his way of trying to make that dream a reality. In Japan,
That's a very interesting, specific dream, but you know what? It's pretty nice.
FireRed and LeafGreen came with a fold-out chart for interpreting Braille. Iwata insisted on its inclusion and encouraged them to add even more Braille puzzles to the game. They hoped fans
He's just obsessed with Braille. I remember getting the guide for Emerald and having to like decode it myself.
would carry it around wherever they go. Australia got that insert too, so solving puzzles was just a matter of consulting the interpretation chart, and maybe they'd learn Braille in the process. In Europe, it was a page in the instruction manual.
Oh, I didn't know that. I had the instruction guides.
But for some reason, America didn't get any of that. Instead, the manual just says to call the Nintendo hotline if you can't figure it out on your own.
What? They just tell you the answer? Oh, it's $1.50 per minute? Oh, wow. A bit of a ripoff there, guys.
Which wasn't exactly free. Sites like Bulbapedia didn't have answers back then, so at launch, Americans would have had to buy a strategy guide or go digging through message boards, and almost certainly wouldn't have learned Braille in the process. In a strange case of history kinda repeating itself, the official Japanese site for the Switch re-release has that 20-year-old Braille chart linked right on the homepage.
Oh,
with
that's
a history
cute.
lesson on how it was invented by a teenager in the 1800s. But it's not on the official English website. None of this is a big deal in 2026, thanks to Bulbapedia and all that. But it is kind of weird it's happening again. At one point, they talk about FireRed and LeafGreen's commercials, and this one in particular.
Okay, here we go. Charizard, sick, big, 3B modeled, nice.
あのポケモンたちと一緒に新しくなった冒険へ出かけよう。ポケットモンスター、ファイアレッドとリーフグリーン。
Okay, pretty cool. Nice little ad there.
Pokemon PR guy in the corner asks if they made Pikachu rarer in the Viridian Forest, because they couldn't find one while filming the commercial. They were recording and filled up tape after tape of useless footage.
Because they couldn't find a freaking Pikachu, so they couldn't get footage of
After
it.
hours of encountering nothing but bug Pokemon.
Well, it's like a 1% chance, right?
Nishino says no. People are buying this game to chase old memories, and changing those kind of details would be a betrayal of longtime fans. So Pikachu's encounter rate is still 5%,
Oh, it's 5%. Dude, they just got really unlucky. That's it.
just as it always was. The ad guys must have just had bad luck. They did tweak encounter rates elsewhere though, but only where it was important, like lowering Zubats in Rock Tunnel. If you played the original games, you'll recall that cave having way too many Zubats. Later on, the magazine dives into the personal lives of Pokemon's developers. Nishino says he loves collecting Gachapon, which are vending machines with miniature toys inside.
Oh, they're everywhere as well in Japan. They're absolutely everywhere.
Just like Pokemon, some toys are rarer than others. I'd be lying if I said I didn't reference Gachapon in Pokemon, he says. It helps me understand what people want and how to make them want it, and limiting quantities to make certain things hard to get. He talks about
Everything is gambling at the end of the day.
seeking out rare colors of toys he's already got, which makes us wonder if shinies were born from this Gachapon obsession.
Ooh, maybe. That's interesting.
Nishino says he also enjoys collecting Pokemon merchandise. He could get it all for free, but chooses not to because he enjoys shopping and the thrill of the hunt.
Fair enough. Hey, you know what? Fair dues to them.
Watanabe and his fellow programmer Morimoto are huge horse race gamblers and go to the track every day they get off work.
Every day? Oh, that's a lot, man. That's a lot of gambling. Every day's crazy.
They think of themselves as evangelists who got a lot of other Game Freak staff into horse gambling too.
Oh, great. Yeah, I got a lot of people into horse gambling. You can say I'm a pretty cool guy.
The interviewer asks if maybe someday Game Freak will make a horse racing game. Watanabe laughs and says that'll never happen. But actually, it did happen a decade later.
Oh my god, they did. They couldn't stay away. They couldn't stay away from the track.
When they released Pocket Card Jockey on 3DS. Uno, however, is extremely embarrassed to share his own interests. Eventually, he admits his hobby is editing idol videos. You know, young female pop stars. He's very insistent that he doesn't watch those videos. He just makes them. After
Okay. What? What? He doesn't watch them? He just makes them? Okay, yeah, you know, I'm sure. I'm sure. You just make them. Yeah, of course, bro.
Asking Masuda's permission, he says his favorite is Aya Matsura, who was 17 and one of Japan's most popular solo acts at the time.
Ooh, that's a bit weird.
On the final page,
Yeah, that's a bit
the
weird.
developers tell us how they want us to best enjoy these remakes. Nishino says we should play slowly and leisurely, not trying to rush through to the end. Read the dialogue and soak it all in. Don't mash A in a hurry. As for Masuda, he says he wants fans to complete the Pokédex. The interviewer asks if we have both versions, and Ruby and Sapphire and Pokemon Colosseum, are we going to be able to catch them all? Masuda says, no. 3
I would really like people to complete the Pokedex. Okay, well, if I buy 5 games, can I do that? Ooh, 5? Just 5? Ooh. Nah, sorry, man. Oop, that's the wrong scene.
was still unobtainable.
How are we supposed to complete the Pokedex then?
Mew and Deoxys, who weren't distributed till later mythical events. And more importantly, Lugia, who'd later star in Gale of Darkness, a GameCube spin-off that wasn't even announced yet. The magazine notes that Masuda has a wry smile, and in hindsight, it's obvious that Gale of Darkness was the reason why. The game was still a secret, although technically Lugia was in some distribution events before that. Point is, eventually, getting every last Pokemon in FireRed and LeafGreen was possible.
Okay, so the reason they wanted you to play slowly is because you weren't going to be able to complete the Pokedex for another 2 or 3 years.
Though we should note, for folks playing on Switch, only about half are obtainable. The interviewer wraps up by asking what's next for Game Freak. Masuda says Ruby and Sapphire and FireRed and LeafGreen mark the end of a cycle for the series. Next, he aims to make the ultimate Pokemon game. The programmers are like,
And then they made Diamond and Pearl.
what? Oh no. Those ultimate games, of course, would turn out to be Diamond and Pearl.
And you know what? They kind of hit. They kind of hit. I mean, obviously, like, Platinum is the best way to play those games. They made the ultimate Pokemon game as long as you don't like fire types or going quickly. Apart from that, great games.
Did you also know we're giving away
All right, that was a great video from Did You Know Gaming. Much appreciated to them. They are absolutely fantastic. Please subscribe to them. I would highly, highly recommend it. Also, subscribe to this channel too. I'd appreciate it. I upload here all the time. You should definitely subscribe here as well.